Welcome to a quick lap guide. Today we're at Utah Motorsport Campus, Outer Loop. As we're headed down the front straight, note the start-finish tower. Pay attention to any flags being presented here. Up next, I want to point out the track entry lane. Keep your eyes up for any cars that may be entering the track. If you are the car entering the track, be sure to use all of the blend lane and do not jump directly out in front of circulating traffic. First up is Turn 1, Sunset Bend. When approaching Turn 1, use the brake markers on the right as reference points. They start at 4 and go down to 1. Once you have your car slowed and in control, you can let off or coast and begin your steering input to get the car rotated. Pay attention to the red and white curbing on the inside of the corners. I'll be referencing this and roughly how far along it you will be finding the apex. For Turn 1, it's roughly 70% of the way through, shown here. Once your car is lined up to hit the apex, you can roll on the throttle and track through and out to the exit of Turn 1. Turn 2, Dreamboat. Your setup for Turn 2 is a continuation of tracking out of Turn 1, meaning you'll maintain your steering input to navigate your car to the far left side of the track. Before turning in, you may need to lightly brake or simply let off and coast. With the car settled, turn in and look for the apex. Roughly halfway through Turn 2, the inside curbing comes to a point. I aim for just beyond that point, or about 60% of the way through that curbing. After hitting the apex, you'll track out to the far left side of the track. There is a little bit of off camber here and the track falls away from you slightly, so you may feel your car push. Turn 3, Workout. Get your car over to the far right side of the track to set up Turn 3. It's very important to get a good entry angle into Turn 3 because if you get it right, you set yourself up for Turn 4. As you come into Turn 3, use the outside curbing as a braking reference point. Once you've finished braking, turn in and look ahead to the apex. The apex of Turn 3 is roughly 50% of the way through the inside curbing. You may need to coast a little to get your car settled and rotated before going back on throttle. And once you are back on throttle, track out to the outside edge of the track. Turn 4, Scream. And scream you might. If you nailed the apex of Turn 3, your steering input will only need slight adjustments here. You'll likely be on throttle and hauling ass. Look for the apex about 50% of the way through the inside curbing. You should be able to keep it floored as you track out and start your way down the back straight. Turn 5, Black Rock Hairpin. As you come into Turn 5, note there are braking markers for reference, starting at 3, going down to 1. The track widens between markers 2 and 1, so be sure to take advantage of the extra space so you can carry more speed through the apex. After you've braked, look for the red and white curbing, come to a point, turn in, and get the car rotated. You'll just want to kiss that with your left tires, go back on throttle, and track out while holding your steering input, making adjustments as needed. Turn 6, Right Hook. I see a couple different lines commonly used here. Personally, I like to take it very wide, going all the way to the outside curbing and following it until I can see the apex, which is when I turn in. Others I've seen take their entry point from around mid-track and almost make a letter V with their line. Try both and see what feels best for you. The apex is just beyond another point made by the inside curbing. I aim for just behind it, similar to how I take Turn 2. Once you have lined the car up for the apex, go back on throttle and track out to the left side of the track. Turn 7, Witchcraft. Witchcraft is a high-speed flat right turn. It's very fun and carries a lot of speed. You'll be entering turn 7 from the far left of the track. Look to the inside curbing and set your sights on the tail end of that curbing. As mentioned, the apex is near the end of the inside curbing. The reason it's so late is you want to exit Witchcraft as far to the right as you can be, so you can properly set up turn 8. Turns 8 through 10, the attitudes. The attitudes are a quick left, right, and left again. I think of them as a chicane / S's hybrid. As you approach turn 8, use the outside curbing as a braking reference point. Look to the inside curbing and aim your front left tire right where the track surface meets the curbing. About 40% of the way through is the apex. If you got your tire in that groove, it kind of hooks you in there. You can apply some throttle, but only very shortly because you'll be letting off to set up for the next attitude. The second attitude is the right-hander, and there is tons of curbing here. I prefer to get about half of my car over that curbing, but I've seen others that just beeline straight across it. See what works best for you. Then another left for the final attitude. Here I like to aim for the beginning of the inside curbing, maybe 15% of the way in, and run up on it as I get back on the throttle and track out. Turn 11, to will a turn. Line your car up on the far right and use the braking markers as reference points. With your car slowed, look to the inside curbing and turn in. Similar to the first attitude, I like to aim my front left tire right at where the track meets the curbing, about halfway through. If you can get your tire there, you will get a little bit of extra grip. After hitting the apex, go on full throttle, track out. Turn 13, Clubhouse Corner. If you're paying attention, you may have noticed we skipped turn 12, and that's because it's technically the kink you pass while tracking out from turn 11. It's not worth mentioning any further. Clubhouse Corner also has braking markers. Use these for your braking reference. This is almost a 90-degree left-hand turn, so after slowing your car, look inside and turn in. The apex is right at the center of the inside curbing. Kiss it just like we did in turn 5 and use all of the track while you're tracking out. There is a lot of track surface here, so take some time to get familiar with how much space you have. Turn 14, wind up. This is mostly a throwaway corner, and you'll want to use it to set up the final corner, which leads into the front straight. I like to enter around mid-track and turn in with the intent of exiting near the far right side of the track. The apex here is roughly 75% of the way through the turn. Once you have apexed, you have a little bit of space to go on the throttle, but only briefly. Turn 15, release. Be sure to let the car settle from exiting turn 14. Get the car rotated and lined up to the apex before going back on throttle. The apex is roughly 70% of the way through the turn, and your exit speed here is super important. It's going to allow you to maximize your top speed down the front straight. And that's a lap. I'll leave a link to the full lap without stops in the upper right so you can see how the entire track flows at pace. Thanks for watching.